Welcome to another edition of the Brewery Boys Expedition Podcast. I'm Ricky J here with Max P. Max, how you doing?
I'm doing excellent, Rick. I mean, partly because we've had a little R&R action this week.
Yes, we have. Well needed.
Normally, we're both jamming to go to concerts, but this week we jammed in I guess we call it a one full day experience of fun and then 2 half days. So I know I said, hey, dude, it's like the end of summer and we haven't been camping yet. And you and I had several camp experiences in the past, and I've got an RV, and we thought, man, we got to get out before the snow starts flying. It's starting to get a little cool. It's starting to be fall.
Yeah.
And so I said, hey, if you can get out Sunday, let's go out Sunday, Monday, come back Tuesday. And we went up to a local lake here, Park Lake near Helena, and it was everything I wanted it to be. It was beautiful.
It was so peaceful, and the fishing was even good.
Yeah,
that was sort of secondary, but it was awesome.
You know, I'll just be right up front here, right at the beginning, be total transparent. First fish, you got. And the most fish you got.
Well, thank you.
And I think the biggest, because you got the 12.
I think the 12.
Yeah.
I tried to make it into a 14.
It's pretty much a freaking clean sweep from a angler standpoint.
Well,
and I'm going to give that to you on this one because there's definitely been some times this went the other way. So
yeah, for sure. Well, I'm going to say cheers to that. And then why don't you tell us about what we're drinking here?
Yeah, this is I got to take a drink after. Cheers. This is fresh off the line. This is the Oktoberfest. Obviously, this is the time of year you see a lot of Oktoberfest come out. We've actually been making an Oktoberfest for a long time. Matter of fact, you and I, when we did the first, I would say, multi-state marketing run for Lewis and Clark Brewing.
Oh, yeah.
It was you and I that went through, gosh, I think we went down to Nebraska, South Dakota. We did the full run because it was the bicentennial?
Bicentennial of the Lewis and Clark Expedition, yeah.
And we had a beer called Lewis and Clark Lager back in those days, and it was actually became our biggest beer for a couple of years there. Miner's Gold's always been our mainstay, largest beer. But, and some of it was due to the Lewis and Clark Bicentennial. A lot of people were into that, a lot of motorhomes, people cruising that trail. And it was a lager, it still is, and it was a Märzen, which this is that beer. And what we found is Lewis and Clark Lager, although it was very successful in the marketplace, especially during that time, people don't really know what a beer is when you just say it's a lager.
Right.
Because a lot of different, you got Budweiser's a lager, Coors is a lager, Miller's a lager. And ours was definitely a Märzen, which is the type of beer that was made way back in the old days in caves because of the temperature. So in a lager, you're fermenting at a lower temperature. And of course, before refrigeration, the only way to do that is in a cold environment like a cave or underground somewhere. Sure. And so that's where the Märzen kind of style came from. And just last year, for the first time ever, we decided to call it, which most Märzens are called, Oktoberfest. And guess what? Sales were triple what they were the year before.
Wow.
So when you can name something appropriately, people know what they're expecting. It is basically an amber lager, and that's what most Oktoberfests are.
It's very
amber
good.
Lager.
It's very good. I know that.
You know, it takes twice as long to make as an ale. So it's a little bit cleaner finish, a little bit brighter. And people really love it. So we're really stoked. This is the first time, absolutely, that we've ever had in a can.
But I'll take it in a can. I'll take it in whatever.
And so being able to can the Oktoberfest for the first time is really nice. And we now with the labeler that we have and being able to can just a blank can, we're able to do that on a much smaller run. So this is a pretty small run. You'll probably pick it up in, if you have a craft beer store in your market where you can find other Lewis and Clark beers, you might find it for maybe 2 to 3 weeks at the most, starting next week.
Okay.
And you'll probably find it in Helena at a few more places than you will in the outer reaches of our distribution. And you'll certainly find it at the tap room the longest. We'll have it both in can, in a growler, and on tap until it runs out. So
Gotcha.
Super stoked about the Oktoberfest. Very good.
So and it'll be on tap at some locations too?
Yep, I'm sure there's two or three, we have several places that have asked for it. And I know there's a couple places that are doing kind of the Oktoberfest taste experience where they're going to put 4 to 6 Montana Oktoberfests on. We've already had a lot of requests for that. So I'm sure you'll see it around your local watering hole. If you're looking for an Oktoberfest, please give it a try.
Gotcha. Well, that's exciting. It's the right time of year for an Oktoberfest to be out, and it tastes awesome.
Absolutely. And that's the freshest beer on tap. Just went on tap tonight. Can just got canned, and then we got some great live music this week. Of course, we got trivia Wednesday night, and then we got Lark on Thursday. Friday, we got Roots Within. If you're a reggae fan, we don't get a lot of reggae through, but it seems like when we do, there's always a pretty solid following.
Word must get out.
Yeah, and these guys are definitely they're definitely up there as far as putting on a great performance. They call themselves kind of alternative reggae because they get a lot of funk and a little bit of rock and roll into it too.
Okay.
So if you're into that, definitely come out and check them out on Friday. And then Saturday, we just had a band cancel. We're trying to find another band to slip in there. But going to be a fun week at the brewery just with all the new beers coming out and all the fun stuff going on.
Well, on the not too distant horizon, what's happening? Anything that we should know about?
Yeah, we got a couple of ticketed events coming up that are really worth looking at. I mean, well, one thing is next Friday. We usually do a bingo night every week, and you and I were talking actually when we were out camping this week about bingo a little bit, and
yeah, I had a lot of fun. The first time I've ever done, well, I'll call it professional bingo, other than just
you're
sitting
making
around.
money, man. That's a profession, right?
Yeah, exactly. And whatever but it was a really fun experience, and I can see where people get into it. I would certainly do it.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember I was, telling you about it this weekend that when I first got married and in the military, didn't have a lot of money, and there was certainly some places that were doing bingo halls that, they might have been, $2 or $3, and you could have a couple hours of entertainment for $2 or $3 and a chance of winning a VCR or whatever it was back in those days. It was just kind of an inexpensive, fun entertainment for the night. And we've been doing that once a month. And what we do is we raise money for a charity. And so coming up this next Friday night is the Humane Society. And so not this Friday, but the following Friday, we'll be doing bingo in the tap room. And you can come in, buy as many cards as you want. Of course, the more cards you buy, a little more work involved.
Right.
You gotta be checking all those cards and stamping all those numbers. 52. And then the winner obviously can win some prizes, win some free beer. But the real winner in the whole thing is the Humane Society.
Right.
So all the money that is raised that night will go to that great cause. And so we encourage people to come out, have a good time, have some beers. Maybe you win some prizes, but the money that you're spending is going to go to a good cause. So that's great. Then as far as looking a little bit further out, we talked last week about Marty O'Reilly coming. That's October 12th. And then Gilda House coming October 13th. Marty O'Reilly is a ticketed show, so we invite you to go online and grab a ticket there at lctaproom.com. And then Rail and Blue Tattoo, October 20th, still coming out, and that's going to be a phenomenal show. If you're definitely into 80s rock and that whole genre of MTV and the Video Music Awards and all that, definitely come out and check out those guys. It's the only show they're going to perform in Montana. So they're coming over just specifically for our show. We are lucky enough to have somebody in Helena, Montana that was having a big birthday party and said, man, I'd really love to have Rail at the brewery. And so we were able to make that happen. So happy birthday, Bob. But also just going to be a great show for the general public.
That's awesome. So general public can come in, and
Yep.
part of it is private, I suppose.
Yeah, the upstairs is all private and already sold out. All the VIP stuff is already sold out. But we still have tickets available for the GA on the bottom floor. And there's still some seating available on the bottom floor as well. It's $20 online. And that includes 2 bands. You get Rail and you get Blue Tattoo. Anybody that's been to Rockin' the Rivers over the last 8 to 10 years, Blue Tattoo has played there several times. Great rock and roll band. So if you're just looking for a great night to get out and enjoy some good rock and roll, October 20th with Rail and Blue Tattoo is going to be one of our top nights of the year, I can see already.
Yeah, that'll definitely be a good night. I got to go back to bingo because I didn't know this. Maybe there's someone else like me that their only experience with bingo has been when you played, in the house with family. And, there was only one way to win. Well, then this was a charity event too. And you're right. What a great way to have fun and support a charity that you want to support. But they had, the first game was like standard bingo, and it was a certain color card, and then you tore that off so you didn't mess up the other cards that you
So you got
marked.
to either do the down or the cross.
Right, your standard pattern, but you just needed one standard pattern. And then all of a sudden it was, you need to cross 2 diagonals to win, or 2 horizontals to win. There was all these combinations. One was a picture frame, so it was all the outside squares.
Sure.
One was an inside square. And one was a total blackout. So there was probably 10 to 12 games, I guess, and they all had a different way to win. So it was made it fun.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think any of those kind of games where you can be having a beer with some friends and enjoying the process, and there's a little bit of that competitive juice that gets flowing, and you hear someone holler bingo, and you're like, oh, man, I was only 1 square away from the bingo. And so it's a fun experience, and our staff certainly does a good job of making that feel like that kind of quintessential bingo experience. So it's a good time.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure the crowd at the brewery is a little nicer. This one, and the most of the crowd was great, but it was kind of a weird, some of the people were outside and some of the people were inside. We happened to be inside. So one of the rules was, of course, you have to yell bingo. And then obviously before the
Somebody
next number
comes
is
over to
called.
verify.
So it was my card, won it. My girlfriend was like, we worked it out. She was going to yell bingo and go down and get the
Always
prize.
better to have, a good-looking woman go down and do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I thought so. And, she yells bingo really loud, but some lady, some really aggressive bingo player was like, she's walking through the outside crowd to get to the table, which is outside where they are going to check the card. The guy starts to go in and goes, wait. I guess it looks like we got a winner. And the lady's like, she's got to yell it so we can hear it. She's got to read the rules. I mean, like out of control. Luckily, one of the main guys putting it together was inside also, who had heard it all. And he was going out to get the information for the gift, the prize that was won on that round, and get her information for that. And said, no, she yelled it inside. But it was amazing. How
You just about had a bingo riot on your hand.
You think you're at a friendly little bingo event, and all of a sudden you got fists flying. So yeah, it was about to get real.
We haven't had that at the brewery because anytime we have a conflict, we just say, "How about a free beer?" And then that usually resolves any conflicts that are out there.
I wish world leaders would do that more. Let's just have a beer summit.
Absolutely. So, yeah, lots of cool stuff going on in the brewery. I guess the big news of the week, and, hate to pull off the Oktoberfest to throw on a little prickly pear, but we had a little competition called the Great American Beer Festival this last week.
Is that like a local
No.
thing?
This is, there's 3 of the largest competitions in the world for beer. One is the World Beer Cup. That's every 2 years. And one is the Great American Beer Festival. The World Beer Cup travels around. The Great American is always in Denver, Colorado, and it's U.S. beers. World Beer Cup is, of course, global beers. And then the third one is called the International Beer Awards, and that's at what's called the North American Brewers Association, not that far from here down in Idaho Falls. You and I went this last June for that. So the Prickly Pear Pale Ale on Saturday, this last Saturday, get the label out there. Won another medal at the Great American Beer Festival. So cheers to that.
Cheers.
And one of the really cool things about this is it's actually one of Rick and I's favorite beers. We drink a lot of prickly pear.
Oh, that's good.
But I was just thinking about it on the way out here. And of course, we have an entire staff of people that will do our fact checking for us. You know, you got the podcast people, and we got the brewery people. Yeah. They'll be doing all this fact checking afterwards. But the Prickly Pear Pale Ale in 2023, this is the year of the prickly pear, because we won a gold medal at the International Beer Awards that you and I went down to in June. We won a silver medal at the World Beer Cup, and now we've won a bronze medal at the Great American Beer Festival. That's what you call a clean sweep.
Wow. That's more than a hat trick.
And yeah, it's just, I'm not sure if it's ever happened. Our staff will let us know for the next podcast.
Let's just say it hasn't.
I'm sure that they'll have to dig through all that data and come back. But I feel really good about the fact that this is one of, the Prickly Pear and the Miner's Gold are the two biggest beers we have at Lewis and Clark. And they're widely distributed in, 5-6 states. And we take the same beer that we can and send out to the stores. We take it off of the cooler shelf and we send it in for competition. And it won 3 times this year at the 3 biggest festivals. And when you look at something like the GABF that happened this last Saturday, I think the total was 9,300 or 9,400 beers in that competition. And there's somewhere near 100 categories, maybe 96 categories. Now, one thing at the GABF that's kind of interesting is you would think they would do a silver, a bronze, and a gold for every beer. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they say, you know what, there's no gold this year. There's nothing that really stood out. And so, but at most, you're looking at 300 medals out of 9,000 beers.
Right.
So to rise to the top of that pile consistently is just unbelievably gratifying. And to me, it just tells me that we have a team of people that really care about quality. From the time that the grain is milled and the water is put to the grain to extract those sweet juices, all the way to the time that you got Dalton and Caitlin that are canning the beer, and Heath that's putting that beer in the cooler and getting the orders ready.
Right.
We all care about the beer and the quality of the beer, and that really gives me a sense of pride and gratitude, honestly, because, they're all doing their jobs, but they care about their jobs. And there's no way that we would consistently rise to the cream of the crop if we didn't have people that really cared about it.
Right.
So.
It's not just one, but several of the beers like Miners and Prickly and others that have been up and coming and winning medals. But those are the two probably for the longest that have been historically winning medals.
And you and I both know there's a
competitions.
lot of these breweries that, and hey, I take nothing away from them, because if you can make a raisin porter and it wins a medal, that's great. But the odds are that raisin porter was a one-time beer that you did, and you took very special care, which is awesome, and you bottled that, you hand bottled it, you sent it in for judging, and take nothing away from that. But when it is your flagship beers that are consistently winning medals, the same beers that are on the store shelves, it definitely gets you feeling like, okay, yeah, we've got quality liquid, and now it's just a matter of getting exposed to more people.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
basically, these are like the SEAL Team 6 and Delta Force operators of beer.
Yeah, absolutely. It truly
They've been selected over and over at the highest level.
Yeah, that level of competition to continue to produce this quality of beer. From Mike and Jace and Sean and the entire team at Lewis and Clark, that it's really looking at not just putting out what we need to put out to fill the orders this week, but if that beer's not quite ready, we don't put it out.
Right.
And I really, really feel like we have never had a better system and brewing team that we have in place right now. So, this is a great opportunity. If you want to try some award-winning beers, And especially like in Wyoming, we talked about last week. I did that whole run, 1,300 miles last week. I mean, if you're in Wyoming and you can find Miners and Prickly, get out there and try it, because it honestly is some of the most award-winning beer you'll ever drink.
Right, even this year. Both have won other awards in other contests.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, and I can't remember the exact, but Idaho, they won.
Yeah,
And,
absolutely. Idaho. I mean, it just, I mean, I actually, being in this business 22 years now, I mean, I've got a lot of good friends that own breweries, and let's face it, the brewing industry is not what it was even 3 years ago or 5 years ago. Not only is there a lot of breweries out there, but beer in general is a market that is not on fire like it was.
Right.
And so in order to kind of rise above the crowd, you've got to be doing something pretty special, because the crowd is pretty damn big at this stage. When you look at it, I think I shared with you my first craft brewers conference. I think we were like 1,182 or 1,158 or, under 1,200 breweries in the country when I went to that show.
Right.
And this last craft brewers conference, I believe we just crossed 12,000 breweries in the U.S. So there is a lot of breweries out there, and there's a lot of people making good beer. And don't get me wrong, there's people that, friends of mine that have owned breweries for years, that have put beers into these competitions every year and never win. And I realize it is kind of a crapshoot when you're talking about 10,000 beers and 300 medals. I mean, It's pretty tough, but it's hard to deny the fact that when you're consistently winning, there's got to be something. It's, you could maybe say it's the water. You could maybe say it's the care about quality.
But we won't say what it is.
Yeah. I mean, we're not going to give you the inside scoop.
No.
But the bottom line is we make good beer, and we're proud of that beer, and I'm proud of my team. And anytime we get another medal, it is just a reinforcement in the fact that we're doing the right thing. And people appreciate it.
Yeah, and the excitement, like you said, is to share it with other people. So that's getting it out in Wyoming and getting it so folks there can learn about it, enjoy it, and throughout the whole state.
And
then
for a
hopefully
long time, we've had a lot of requests from Denver, one of your old stomping grounds. People wondering, hey, can I get the beer in Colorado? Sure. Cheyenne's not that far. What, maybe 90 minutes from Fort Collins, or 2 hours from Denver, maybe?
If Dion keeps asking, just tell him to make it happen.
Yeah. After last week, we pumped the brakes a little bit.
Yeah,
but,
his pull might have gone down a little bit. That's a finicky audience there.
We'll still send him a 6-pack, but the bottom line is we got some good beers right across the border in Cheyenne. You'll find them a lot of places. Definitely find them at Town and Country, which is the biggest liquor retailer out there. So if you're in a beer club in Denver and you guys are getting together to look for some of our popular beers, just head on up to Cheyenne. You'll find them up there.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's within striking distance for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
But, so, we got out. The weather here has been really good the past couple days.
Yeah, pretty nice for September.
So I met up with you Sunday afternoon, and you did a lot of pre-gaming.
I don't know, a lot of pre-gaming. I did
all of it.
Take the wife on a drive, and we had a friend from out of town, Terry, from Indianapolis, old NFL fan of ours that we've been in fantasy football for years, that came to town. He was up in Yellowstone and cruised up because the weather was kind of cruddy down there. It started to snow in Yellowstone actually last week, and he came up, and I thought, what would be a fun thing to do on a Saturday is, actually get out and see a little bit of the outdoors. So, really just 45 minutes from town, we've got a lot of great recreational opportunities, but Park Lake, real close to Helena. And so we went up, and, he's an amateur photographer, so he got some great photos of the lake, and, I'm doing a little fishing out there, and then we scouted some campsites, and then I said, hey, Rick, this is, we're getting towards the end of the year. If I don't get out camping one time before the snow flies, I'm going to ask myself, why am I living in this beautiful place called Montana, which everybody dreams about, the fishing and the hunting and the mountains and the hiking and all that stuff. And fortunately, you were available and were willing to go up there with me. So we spent Sunday, Monday, came back today, got up this morning. I mean, it's, it's very fresh in my memory, sitting around that campfire and having a little coffee with some Baileys in it and just enjoying the outdoors. And it is a wonderful time to decompress.
Well, it was, and before we decided on Park Lake, just because we've done a lot of backpacking and stuff like that, and we've been out in the middle of nowhere, kind of. And Park Lake would not be the middle of nowhere, although there was no cell service, which was nice, but kind of felt a little more off the grid. But we were going, with the week earlier, driving around looking for a little more, maybe a little more remote place.
Yeah.
And what did we see? But we talked, we saw the big elk, bull elk in the in the middle of the 4x4 road. And so that was worth it, just the scouting and then just saying, hey, let's just do Park Lake. And you were right that it was very, very quiet. I don't even know if there was.
There might have been one other camper, but I mean, there's like 20 campsites out there. And, a lot of times we don't even go to campsites. We'll just boondock and just pull it out somewhere. But I mean, it's pretty doggone nice to have a level spot to park. And then we had the big campfire ring and even came with 2 stools. That to me was a sign that
it was
this
very
is
nice.
This is the spot we need to camp. And it was kind of a nice little, almost like a peninsula, if you will, on the top of this mountain that kind of overlooked the valley, had some great views and very private, and a really nice, high quality Forest-Service bathroom nearby.
Yes, there was.
Which, that's nice when number 2 calls.
Pretty nice, especially.
You can, 60 yards away, you've got a beautiful facility sitting there.
It's
Not that we
comfort.
can't do that in the RV, but it sure is nice as the RV owner to not deal with the black tank when you come home.
That's right, exactly. Well, that is a great spot, and it's a good one to remember up there because if you did go up there, like you said, grandkids, you got flat room for them to run around a little bit. My
little
girlfriend and her
swimming hole.
kids, there'd be extra, there looked like there were a couple little nice tent sites even on that same spot.
Oh, absolutely.
And so you could have a real fun, I think, small group there if you wanted.
Oh yeah, and I think $15 a night. I mean, that's money well spent.
Yeah.
Have a facility that not only has. Oh, and by the way, this is one of the rare ones that has potable water. So we had plenty of water on board, but you could actually go over there and pump your own water, good drinking water, and it's right out of a well from there. And so, I mean, it really offers everything you would need close to town.
Right.
And all the recreational idea. And the fishing actually was really good.
It surprised me that it was as good,
I mean,
good as
I
it was.
bet we didn't fish a total of more than maybe like an hour and a half the first night, 2 hours at most, and then maybe 3 hours the next day. And we limited.
Right.
I mean, anytime you can limit, which is, 5 each or 10 fish in that particular area, that's a damn good thing.
Yeah, it made a nice fish fry.
Yeah, absolutely. So first night we cooked some steaks, which was amazing.
Oh, those were phenomenal.
Right on the fire, and it just doesn't get better than that. And then the next night we had plenty of fish, so we did a big fish fry, and just stayed around, snacked, played some board. I think I threw a couple of photos up. If you want to grab maybe this one over on the far left there, that's just kind of a nice shot of the lake, and Rick throwing a cast out. That's the first night. This is when he caught the first fish, so he got that trophy, and he ended up
made that
a clean
ribbon.
sweep. He got all 3 of those medals for this weekend. So that was the first one, and then got one of our harvest.
Oh, yeah.
We call it harvesting when we're actually collecting fish. So I think we had a total of 10, although they're not all there. We had some from the night before.
Right.
I'm not trying to say we had more than we had, but we did have more than this. You can see 1 cutthroat in there, 9 Arctic grayling, and 1 cutthroat during the day. And that made for a nice fish fry, and very, very few people. Once school starts in our area, it's not that many people are out camping and fishing. So great time to get in the outdoors. And
it was so nice. The weather was just incredible.
And then I think got one of the campsite, sitting there by the fire, of course, having a beer or seltzer, and just really enjoying. Now, this was a little bit odd. We both talked about this. First time I think both of us have been disconnected from the internet for 2.5 days.
It was an acknowledgement that maybe I'm a little more codependent on that than I thought I was.
Yeah, me too.
Because
I would reach in and grab it.
Well, I remember I said, Max, I had to stop myself because I was about to grab my phone. It was kind of that natural lull in a conversation.
Yep.
Where
I better check my messages.
I didn't realize my habit had become just pulling my phone out and taking a look, especially when you're doing something like that and you're not connected, to others in your life. And so it's kind of nice to take a look and make sure everything is good, or just in case. And it was, didn't say no. Hey, there's no connection. But so it was odd.
It was really kind of nice. I think we both commented by the time we were done. I mean, obviously, the people that are significant others were well informed ahead of time that we wouldn't have access. But there's a sense of that disconnect that gives you a sense of peace and a sense of, hey, this is why I actually came out here, was to escape the day-to-day routines and questions and concerns and news and all the other crap that is pushed on us throughout our social media life. And I found it really gratifying. I mean, I wish I could do that more.
No, it was nice. And I think part of it is just being able to say, hey, I'm not responsible to monitor this thing.
Yeah.
Because it can't be monitored. So now my mind is now free just to be fully in the moment.
Yep. And we were in there.
I mean,
we had a nice fire. The first night, a little sketchy on the fire. Second night, we got a really good fire going.
Let's see that. Oh, we don't have one of the fire.
No fire shots. We did get some gaming in.
Oh, yeah.
And in the RV, pulled up Lionheart, which is a great 2-player game. And although there is a game called Stoned there, we didn't play that game.
Oh.
Not saying that we weren't stoned.
We used the box, though.
Because it is recreational in Montana. So if we did choose to do that, it'd be totally legal.
It would be legal
to do that.
That's the nice thing.
But that was just a game that we never played, but we use it as a box to roll our dice in, and had some great games, some great food, some great fishing, some great companionship, and it definitely is highlight of my summer, and a great time. So it's fun to disconnect like that. I encourage everybody, wherever you live, there's probably something that other people come to your area to visit or to do, and you might find yourself never doing that because you're so close to it that you ignore it. This is one of those things that we just got to do more. It's right out our back door. We got to do it more.
And even if, sometimes, again, we were probably some of those people that would look down at doing what we just did. Yeah. Because where before we were like, no, we got to load the backpack. We got to hump out to some lakes up on Mount Baldy or something like that.
8 miles in.
Yeah. And now we could just say like, hey, we don't have a lot of time to prepare all this stuff. We don't.
Number one, let's make sure we've got more beer than we could ever drink.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we don't want to run out.
So if we can just, and maybe we can see someone and help, like those 2 hunters walking down the road.
Yeah.
It would have been, hey, you guys look thirsty. I don't see a vehicle around for a long ways. You guys need a beer? But we could have brought joy to others. But I will say, you gave me credit on the fishing, but other than I think this game where I went,
that game 50-50, you got the first game as well. So
I think did you kamikaze my?
I tried a couple of times on this first game,
but the second game,
I did.
Yeah, because I was well in hand to winning that one too, and you took me out with the little kamikaze action. But the other games you swept me. So the other board games we played,
really good time, good weekend for sure.
Very much.
And then what else did we got?
I got your solar, a shot of your solar panel, which you were working with.
Did a little, more so for fun than we really needed the power, because we didn't run our batteries down much at all. We were only out there a day and a half, 2 days. But I had a new panel that I had gotten off of course, YouTube, a tip about this panel going on sale for Prime Day. Hadn't used it, and it's been probably coming up on I can't even remember when Prime Day was. Probably 8, 9, 10 months, maybe a year ago. But a 220 watt EcoFlow bifacial solar panel, which really worked out well. I got a little battery that we charge our phones and all that kind of stuff on, and we put it out just to give it a try more than anything, and it performed really well. It's got a little stand. You can move it around depending on where the sun's going. So if you have an RV, I would highly recommend looking into some of these portable solar. This is one of the new ones you can actually walk on. It's pretty impervious to any sort of abuse, and it folds up real small, goes into your RV, and can charge your batteries pretty quick. I think we went from like 61% to 95, 96% that afternoon on the big battery that I had, which is that one is 100 amp hour. So it would, definitely would run everything you're going to do inside of an RV for a couple of days pretty easily.
Well, and it's not like we kept adjusting this so it stayed in the sunshine. We went fishing.
We were kind of focused on drinking, fishing, and eating. So, but yeah, it was fun. It was
the trifecta: drinking, fishing, eating.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely a good time.
Absolutely.
And it was just, I'll tell you, I don't know how long this weather's going to last, but it is just flat beautiful. That wind is just gorgeous. Like super calm, and then maybe just a slight breeze every now and then. It was really nice.
It was beautiful out there. Oh, and I don't know if I brought that in. I should have brought it in. I got a little gift for you. Hold on just 1 second.
All right.
Be right back.
We'll put a pause. We can edit it some of this out. Oh ho ho.
You can tell we're very well prepared in this show. Of course,
Always.
All the staff is behind the scenes.
That's right.
I should have just called out to the staff, and I'm sure they could have brought it in.
Well, frankly, they should have known you would need it, and they should have brought it to you without you asking.
Heidi, where are you when I need you the most?
Let's tell Heidi we need her to support the show.
But I was in Cheyenne, Wyoming at a vintage record store.
Oh, this is awesome.
And I came across this little gem. This is called Number One. Obviously, you're a huge Huskers fan, and you do your unbelievably popular podcast, The Huskers in Montana. Yeah. And so this has a foreword by Johnny Carson and all of the great music, glamour, and excitement of Nebraska's Big Red football team all on vinyl.
Oh, that's fantastic.
I know you've got a vinyl system here.
I do. I can't wait to throw this on.
Yeah, better throw that baby on and just revel in it.
Yeah, I'll put. So yeah, I obviously do the Husker Fans in Montana podcast with a couple other buddies, but they're not like lifelong Nebraska fans. So when I make them listen to this, they've got to get more in depth.
Definitely. You might even want to have to set up some cameras out there where your vinyl system is set up to get their reaction to that. The reaction to the vinyl.
That's a great. That's
into
a
the
great
podcast.
suggestion. Well, thank you, Max. That's very, very kind of you. That's why, frankly, we consider Lewis and Clark Brewing Company our sponsor for that podcast. So basically, this is another example of an amazing sponsorship item.
And I got to tell you, as Gary and I were in the record store, and I'd picked up a Styx Paradise Theater album for 99 cents. So this, by the way, is a high dollar.
That's $20,
very collectible item.
This is awesome.
And I seen that album there, and I picked it up. And Gary said, "Oh, you should get this for Rick." I said,
that's
okay,
awesome.
Yeah, I'll get it for Rick. And then two guys that were in the store walked up to me and said, "Are you actually going to buy that?" I said, "Yeah, I'm going to buy it for a buddy of mine. He's a huge Huskers fan. He's got a podcast about Huskers." And they were like, "Oh, man, I was going to buy it, but I just kept wandering around. I thought, no one's going to buy that. I could buy it like next week or something." And then you come in, and I said, "Well, hey, if you really want it." I mean,
right,
my
you're
friend
here.
doesn't even know about it.
Right. I just won't tell him.
No. You should definitely take it. He was like, "What's that podcast? Because we want to listen to that podcast."
Oh, that's awesome.
So that's really cool. It was fun to make that connection. There's definitely a lot of Husker fans in southern Wyoming down there for sure.
That is so cool. Yeah, it'd be cool if that person would message us on the Husker. The Husker podcast, or
absolutely.
the Facebook
you probably
page.
Might even be able to get them. I know you gave away some tickets last week. You never know what you guys have to give away.
One of the buddies doing the podcast had one free ticket, which he ended up not being able to use. But he was just going to go himself, so it just had one ticket, right? And this is new about giving stuff away and stuff. So on the Husker Facebook page, the Montana fans or the Husker fans of Montana Facebook page, there was a comment on the giveaway thing that said, first one was like, it's on TV. Okay. What does that have to do with someone might want a free ticket? It's just on TV. And then the other person like, one ticket? What are you going to do with one ticket? And someone goes to go to the game and like, who goes to the game alone? It's like, dude,
me?
Yeah, what? So it just amazes me that some people would be like, okay, these people are giving away a ticket. Now, whether I felt that's kind of, hard, one ticket, what are you going to do? But it's not beyond the realm of possibilities that someone would want the one ticket.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be like going on their page to comment on it to kind of shame them or make fun of them.
It is crazy, the trolls that are out there, because we just did, of course, we had Crosstown last week, and we had Capital and Helena High, and I spent some money to buy the game to put it on in the tap room because I thought it was kind of a crappy night. It was rainy and cold. A lot of people might want to come in and watch Crosstown at the tap room. And one of the comments was, because we have a band that starts at 8, now the game started at 7, the band was a $5, I realize that's a significant investment, but a $5 cover to get into the facility in order to enjoy the live music. But you could also go upstairs, and we had the game on 4 TVs upstairs.
Right.
And one of the comments was, why would I pay $5 to watch the game? And you would have to pay $80 to buy the game at home if you want to buy the subscription to the service. So there's one reason it's cheaper than if you buy it. And so I get what you're saying. There's always those people that are looking for the opportunity to pour a little bit of water on whatever it is.
Like in preparation to doing these podcasts, I've listened to oodles and oodles of podcasts and many like Nebraska podcast, and I've never seen anyone give anything away. And so it was kind of a fluke that we had the ticket, but it was just funny to one. What? Who gives away one? What are you going to do with one ticket?
I've got 5 friends.
Yeah. How can I just do one? What is that even? I mean, dude, well then don't DM him for a chance to win.
It is crazy. But I think you'll always find those negative Nellies, so to speak, or people that are looking to look at the shadow of a situation instead of the light.
And who knows, probably you very well could be a super nice, positive dude, but just it struck him as odd, and he felt he needed to voice his thoughts on the matter.
Yeah, exactly.
But anyway, it's been fun. This is fun doing this podcast. I hope as we get going to, we're able to. I mean, this is just, what did I say? This is number 4.
Yeah.
For the Brewery Boys Expedition.
Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff coming up. I know we're still working on the podcast with Dan Murphy and All Good Things, getting a bunch of that old footage together because we really want to show that in a form that's kind of cool, that shows the history that you and I have with Dan and then where he is today. And I told you when we were out camping, I found like 8 hard drives that I'm going to start taking all the photos because we definitely want to do a historical kind of podcast series of the brewery. I mean, we've been doing this over 20 years now, so it's kind of cool to actually put some photos and some dialogue with many of the challenges and the adversity and the ups and the downs and excitement and that we've had throughout the years. It's going to be fun to share.
It'll be Yeah, it'll be really
even
awesome.
if it's only my mom and my grandkids that ever watch it.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
it's fun to share.
It's a labor of love.
Exactly.
Well, having just got back today and jammed to get ready for the Husker podcast and got that done, and I haven't put a lot of research or anything into I should have, where I had better questions to ask you and stuff like that. But
I think
is
it's
there
good
anything
just
else
to
we should
give
be
a
covering?
good update. I mean, we got some good stuff coming out that we talked about, some live music with Marty O'Reilly and Gilda House. We're working on some relationships right now that I think are going to turn into some regular, larger acts that are going to be coming through, working with a partnership with some people in other parts of the state so that we can build some tours. And that's exciting because we now have a facility, as you know, with the big stage and the nice PA and everything, to bring in some really nice higher level acts that people have heard of. So we're super excited about building those relationships out over time, and just continuing to allow our place to grow with the market. There's a lot of people still moving to Helena. Every day I meet some people that come in that are, just recently moved here or thinking about moving here. And Montana in general is seeing a lot of that influx of people. So I think the future looks bright for us, and I'm excited about not only what the brewery can do with that, but even talking about all the events that are going to be coming up here in the future. And we both love football. I've been going to the Montana State games. They had another great game last week. They
did.
Looking super solid, and really looking forward to their season. It's turning out to be a great year.
You'll have to skim through some of the brewery podcasts and get to where Carl's talking. He's a little depressed.
Is he?
I thought we were going to have to call someone.
A little bit of the Grizz are struggling, and I think there's definitely already some talk about maybe a coaching change there. And
he said there's a strong rumor that Hauk would step down after this season.
I mean, I think it's his 5th year. That's enough time to kind of try to build something. And if you're not seeing things move in the right direction, I mean, I think they've given him more patience than, for example, Nebraska might have given a coach. 5 years is a long time to kind of try to build something. And some of it, I think, is just the general excitement about MSU and their whole student body growth and that community's growth. And but they're really on a tear, and we're really looking forward to this season. It's been a lot of fun and going to continue to be a lot of fun. I mean, they barely lost to South Dakota State at home down there, and we've got them coming back at home. And I think we've got a really good shot to definitely make the playoffs, and who knows? We'll see what happens.
That's great. Well, when they switched coaches a couple years ago, they didn't really seem to – was it last year was his first year?
Yeah.
Didn't skip a beat.
Yep. Got some really good recruiting, I think. And, I think there's just a general buzz that MSU is on the right track, and that's attracting – not only obviously student body. I think they almost have double the student body as University of Montana right now, and growing. And unfortunately, that means pretty high rent district down in Bozeman, Montana. As well.
That's true.
But for those people that own some property down there, that's a bonus situation. But I think. And then Carroll College won, by the way, this last Saturday. Of course, we. Cater the beer at Carroll College was our biggest beer sales in history there. So thank you to everybody that came out to the Carroll game as far as Carroll game beer sales. We had a great day. It was a beautiful weather day. Carroll won, and Carroll is now 4-0. And obviously winning certainly helps bring people out.
Right. It's great to see that Carroll doing well again.
Yeah. I mean, it's been a little while, and they certainly have had their run. But it certainly feels like they're on that pace again, and it's great to see the local support. I know they just got some pretty big donations so that they can actually get artificial turf, which is crazy. That they're the only school in their conference that doesn't have artificial turf at this point.
Really?
And so now they'll have lights, artificial turf, and there's even talk about maybe doing some concerts there down the road. So
they are adding lights?
Yeah. So it's going to be a lot of opportunity for fun stuff. And I think that'll even change the dynamic potentially of crosstown rivalries.
Well, you
and all
mentioned the
sorts of stuff.
crosstown game, and I think that if it had lights, it would be the perfect place for
Yeah.
a crosstown game because crosstown needs to be played in a larger stadium.
Yeah, I mean, I think they could absolutely pull the crowd when you get this many people that are kind of, they have a connection to one school or the other over the years,
Right.
and would love to go out and root on their favorite teams. So it should be good.
Although definitely no alcohol should be sold at that crosstown game. I think
Absolutely
it's rough
not.
enough
Yeah,
already.
yeah. Maybe first quarter.
I don't know. Maybe.
But no, I think other than that, yeah, things are rolling, and we're looking forward to this is going to be a nice fall and a nice winter season in the tap room. Lots of great beers coming out. We got the neighborhood IPA coming out here shortly. Pumpkin Ale, which is a huge beer for us.
Right.
So lots of good seasonals. This is a great time to be a beer fan. We're going to be at the Oktoberfest down at the fairgrounds again this year. We'll have this beer
Nice.
on tap down there. One of the only Oktoberfests that also includes a rodeo. So if you're a rodeo
Nice.
fan, you go to the Oktoberfest, then go see some bull riding. I mean, you got everything built in right there. That's a Montana Oktoberfest.
Sounds like a nice little Saturday. I don't know if I'll have time for it all.
Yeah, Bed Bath & Beyond, I don't know.
I don't
Maybe.
know. I don't know if I'll have time. Well, Max, then with all of that, I guess we'll just sign off a little earlier on this
Absolutely.
podcast.
See you next time, and cheers.
Cheers.